Okay, right. We are live. Excellent. So I'm here today with Gemma Jones from the Amazon military recruiting team. So welcome, Gemma. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Eloise. So yes, my name is Gemma Jones and I am the EU Operations Military Recruitment Manager for the EU. And that is exactly as it says on the tin. I recruit service leavers and veterans into operational roles within Amazon across the EU. And day to day, I also, we're quite a small team, day to day, I also look after the day-to-day recruitment in the UK and Italy. And at the moment, I have a colleague, one of my team members that covers Germany, Poland, Austria, and also temporarily covering France. So we're quite a small team, yet mighty. And that's in a nutshell. I also, before joining Amazon, I did also spend 11 years in the Royal Navy and left last year in March to come into this role. So that's just a bit about me.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. So I'm aware that a lot of service leavers and veterans join Amazon and with a huge range of transferable skills that veterans have, where do you see them fitting in best at Amazon?
Yeah, so that's a good question. And I think sometimes it can depend on your experience, especially if you have some civilian experience after leaving the military, that will obviously play a part in what you might be suitable for. But where we find that they land best overall is in operational roles. And what I mean by that is roles within our operational building. So let's take, for example, the UK. We have 100 plus buildings across the UK. And with so got fulfillment centers, sortation centers, delivery stations, and also the smaller prime now sites. Within those buildings, we have associates, we have supervisors, we have area managers, operations managers, senior operations managers, and general managers. It looks slightly different across the different buildings, but by and large, it's roughly the same structure. And we find that in those buildings, leading large teams, thinking, fixing problems, thinking outside the box, tends to align really well with the skills that military leavers and veterans have. And we have great success with candidates coming into the area manager role, the operations manager role, the senior operations manager role, and also the super role and the associate role as well. So across all the different levels within Amazon. If you have a more specific skill set from civilian life or from the military, then obviously we very interested in engineers, in IT individuals with qualifications in IT, and also if you have more specific project management skills and you have significant project management experience, that could be an option as well. So it does sometimes depend on your post-military experience if you are a veteran, what you may be suited for as well. And then there's also the qualifications and education requirements for the different types of roles as well.
Perfect. There's also lots of roles I see on Right Job, which is great around engineering and the ops roles that you've just mentioned. What's the talent pool and how would a veteran use that?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things on Right Jobs at the moment. There's the talent pool, and basically what this is a new thing we've just come up with in the last sort of month or so. So it's fairly new, and basically what we're doing is I'm taking it back a step to understand why we have it. You need to understand a little bit about recruitment in reality. So when we are recruiting for roles, we obviously have candidates that apply actively, but we also go out and find candidates as well. And this is why LinkedIn is such a great source. So we use LinkedIn and other tools out there to try and find candidates that might match our roles, might be suitable to our roles, that we can then talk to about our opportunities. The talent pool is exactly that. So you submit your profile into the talent pool via LinkedIn would be my advice, that it pulls that information through. You will then sit in Amazon's internal system, recruitment system, and other recruiters will be able to see your profile. And if they have potentially, if there are roles that are suitable for your profile, they will email you and say, hey, Bob, I've got this role. It may be suitable for your skill set. Please look at it here on the job description on Amazon.jobs, and so forth. And so the idea is that you'll be exposed to a lot more opportunities, but also for my own benefit, I then have I will be able to communicate more effectively with you with open vacancies, with events as well, to keep you in the loop on those. It's still in its infancy because it's new, but it's so far it's going really well. We've got really good sign up. I've already used it to talk to a select group from it about roles in Doncaster, and so I'm really excited by it. Applying for a job is separate though. So being in the talent pool is one thing. But if you see a role that you like and you think suits your skill set, definitely apply for it. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. Okay. So that is separate, the application to a job and the talent pool.
Great. And we've had a question come in which says about are the jobs with Amazon self-employed? So we've got obviously the associate jobs right in the fulfillment center that some veterans do. I know, just if they're looking for something else, they might do that for a little while.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're just looking for a stopgap or something to tide you over, especially in the pandemic, then I would definitely look at Amazon associate work through an agency. I think P&P is the main agency that Amazon deals with. There might be a couple of others as well. And it's a good opportunity. It's a good opportunity to see what the company's all about as well from the inside. In terms of self-employed, we do have other schemes. So, for example, obviously selling via Amazon, the Amazon website through Marketplace, but also we have something called the Delivery Service Partner Program, where you set up a business under the umbrella of Amazon and they help support you, offer you guidance, and essentially you set up your own delivery business, delivering parcels to the customer. If you search for Delivery Service Partner Program, you will find all the information online. And that's a great opportunity if you've got that entrepreneurial spirit and you fancy looking at that option, then I would definitely encourage you to do so.
Brilliant. And there was a bit of negative press in a while ago about Amazon fulfillment centers and working practices there. And I suppose that sort of going in as a contract worker at the fulfillment center is a good way to find that out. How can we talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, I've been in fulfillment centers, delivery stations, and I've only ever seen really engaging, happy teams working hard, having a good time, having fun. And that's been my experience of Amazon operations on the shop floor. I think if you're interested to learn more about Amazon, then obviously once this pandemic passes, I would definitely recommend booking yourself onto a site tour that are open to the public. And a great way, if you are looking for work and you're not really sure if it's for you or you just want something temporary, then definitely look at temporary seasonal associate roles as well.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Gemma. So we've had another question come in from Stuart, who says stock controller, 36 years experience, 12 of those with the RAF. Where would he fit in? He's just looking at where he might fit into the Amazon structure.
I'm not sure what a stock controller is, if I'm honest. I would need to see the CV to really fully understand where you might fit. It's hard to say just off the back of that, unfortunately. But I'm on LinkedIn, Stuart, so just message. I'm really easy to find. Gemma Jones, Amazon, Gemma Jones, Royal Navy. I come up fairly, even though I've got a very common name. I am fairly easy to track down. And once I've seen your profile, looked at your CV, I'll have a better answer to that question.
No, that's great. Thank you. So what does the recruitment process look like once someone's sent their CV into you or applied for one of these jobs through Right Job or the talent pool?
Yeah, so if you're submitting an application through Amazon.jobs, then obviously you submit your CV that you should have tailored to the role. That CV, if you're applying to any of the military jobs with military in the job title, that will land in my inbox. Okay. If you're applying to other roles, then obviously it goes to that relevant recruiter. I will then look at your CV, check it against what I'm looking for the role in terms of education, experience. And if you're a match, then move you forward for phone interview. The phone interview with me is about half an hour, and we do a couple of questions that are based on Amazon's 14 leadership principles. We'll also talk about the role, talk about you, talk about your motivation for Amazon. You could ask some questions. If you're successful at that stage, then the next one is a 4-person interview panel. We'll look more in depth at leadership principles. There's also a numerical reasoning test. And that is the process. And then afterwards, hopefully we'll already have discussed at the front end, the location that you want, the timings and how that works with your notice period or whatever it may be. Hopefully that will all tie in after the panel to be able to then make an offer for a role. If you apply to a more technical role, then there's likely be other steps, potentially hiring manager phone call, potentially technical assessment, depending on what you're applying to. So the process could change slightly depending on what role you've applied to.
Okay, great. And how can veterans use their RFEA employment advisor to sort of help support them with these interviews?
Yes, that's a good question. And you should definitely be leveraging every available resource to you to prepare for any interview with any company. And Amazon is competency based, and your not counselor, your career consultant. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Your career consultant will have experience with that, with competency-based questions, and will be able to run through them with you. What types of questions you're likely to get asked, the STAR format, how to use it, why it's important, and really honing and perfecting that interview technique so that you can be successful in the actual interview. Just to add on to that, the STAR format, a lot of people sort of don't really understand why it's important. It's got two reasons why it's important. The first one is that people, when they're in interviews, they get nervous and they end up going down rabbit holes. Okay, talking about stuff that's not relevant, going off on a tangent. The STAR format will keep you on track. Okay, it will keep you on the thread that you're on. It also is great for the interviewer because they're hearing an example of something they have no idea about. And the STAR format will help them follow the story logically. Okay, so those are the two reasons why it's important. So never underestimate the importance of the STAR format when you're interviewing.
No, that's really useful information. And I know that lots of companies don't disclose salaries, and there was some conversations that I was having with some service leavers as to why that was. Why does Amazon choose to not disclose salaries?
Oh, that's a tricky question, Eloise. So our compensation philosophy and approach, especially the managerial levels, has multiple elements to it. You get base pay, you get sign-on bonuses and shares, and it does vary depending on the share price. So that it's not a set in stone. We don't set it in stone for this time, for this date, because it does fluctuate a little bit. And it is discussed at the point of offer, of course. And the salaries are competitive. They really are. They're really competitive. And I've not had anybody who's been offered a role be unhappy with the package. But it's not something we do. It's not something we put on the job descriptions. No,
absolutely. And Amazon are definitely not alone in that. It's quite commonplace.
It's fairly standard. Standard.
Absolutely.
For those reasons. Yeah.
No, that's great. Well, I think, unless we've had any other questions come in, that is us wrapped up with the questions that I had for you for today. But thank you very much for joining us today. I really, really appreciate your time.
No worries.
So, yeah, thank you.
My pleasure. All right. Thanks, Eloise.
Bye.
Bye-bye.